Hi everyone, and welcome to the tutorial that I said I was going to do for a very long time. So this tutorial is how I colour my pencil sketches in Photoshop. Now this should work for pretty much any digital software that you're using. They basically all have the same properties, the same things that you can use. I mean, I don't use anything fancy, so it should really work for everyone. So let's go ahead, and so first thing I want to talk about is taking either a good photo or a good scan of the image that you want to paint. So I have a couple of examples here, so I'm just going to open them up. Okay. Please excuse me, I have a really bad cold I'm trying to get over, so my voice is a bit scratchy. Okay, so here we have a photo that has been taken in just a normal lamp. This was at night when I took this photo, so there was no natural light and it was just a normal desk lamp. And as you can see like shiny areas here where the light is kind of reflecting off the pencil, you know, it's shining back off, and it doesn't look very good. And there's a lot of uneven areas, and you've got the yellow kind of paper tone, which is difficult to work with. And then this is a picture that I took during the day. It's a lot clearer. You can see a lot more variation in the actual tones of the picture. There's still a little bit of differences, I guess, tone differences in the paper, so it's still not quite perfect. And then there's a scan. Now the scan is picking up the yellowish kind of colour of the paper, because that's the kind of paper that I was using for the sketchbook. But that's all this stuff is actually easily changed, but it's an even tone all the way through because it's a scan, obviously. So it is really up to you if you want to use a scan or a good quality picture, because it will be easier in the long run. And so for this picture, I think maybe I'll just go with the scan. Yeah, I think I'll just go with the scan. I mean, I think the pictures usually look nicer, but I'm just going to go with the scan for this one. So I'll just get rid of these. Okay, so once you've decided on your picture, let's just crop it, because we don't want all of this. So if you're going to use the crop tool, it's right here. And just get rid of that there. Okay. Right, so first thing we need to do is to change the levels of your sketch, because it looks a little bit flat. So to change the levels, you can go up to Image and Adjustments and Levels. I just have I always use shortcuts, so it's the Command and L button. Okay, so you can use these little, what would you call them? I don't know, little toggle things. You can move those around to play around basically with the contrast of the picture. So it'll lighten it, darken it, and then the contrast as well. So if you bring this one up, it obviously darkens the image quite a bit. And then if you bring this one, it completely lightens it. So you have to be very careful, obviously, that you don't go too far either way. And then this one is the one that plays with the contrast. So what I normally do is, I want the background to be kind of white. So within reason though, because when you start lighting in it, you're going to lose a lot of the detail that you have put into your pencil drawing. So I start kind of lightening it first with this, and then I try and add a bit of contrast back in by using the middle toggle here. It all depends really on what kind of look you want from your picture. I mean, my sketch is quite pencil heavy. Like, I've done quite a lot of shading, and it is quite messy, to be honest. Like, it's not the cleanest. So you could clean it up if you wanted to, but I mean, I don't want to. I just want to keep it as it is and just color over it, and if I want to do anything afterwards, I'll actually do that afterwards and paint on top. So I think I'm happy enough to work on it like this. Now that it's obviously not completely white, but I'll deal with that afterwards. So that's how it looks now. And so let's get started. Now you can leave your sketch like this, or if you do want to make it more even toned, you can just go to image adjustments and you can just turn it to black and white. So now everything is quite even, so it's got rid of all those slightly yellow colours. So there's that. And also you can start painting straight on top of this now as it is, but you can also adjust the actual colour of your pencil sketch. And to do that, you let's just stop. If you want to change the back, like that background is locked, like this is our base layer and you can't draw on it. So if you want to unlock it, just double click it and press OK, and it changes it to a normal layer. So to change the colour of the pencil sketch, you need to go into the hue and saturation panel. So again, it's up here in image adjustments and hue saturation, but again, I'm so used to using the shortcuts, so it's Command U. Now nothing's going to happen because it is black and white right now. Nothing's going to happen if you move these, because there's actually no colour to play, well, apart from the lightness and darkness, but there's no colour there at all. So what you need to do is click on this button here, Colorize, and yeah, so now it actually adds a colour to your pencil sketch. So you can make it super saturated if you want. Don't recommend that. But then you can also change the colours here. So I mean, again, that's all down to personal preference. It's yeah. Normally I might add a little bit of hue, so I might go to like a more natural colour, so a brownish kind of colour, and I don't want it to be too saturated. But the good thing is, because this is its own layer, even if you do select a colour now, you can change it, you know, right at the end if you want to. So it's completely up to you. So I'm just gonna leave it like here. Now we're getting ready to put colours on top of this. So what you need to do is turn this layer mode into multiply. And what that does, it makes sure that anything that you do paint, that this sketch is going to show up underneath. So just to show you, if I if I paint on this now, obviously I'm painting over it. It's painting over it, you can't see through it, okay? So you have to move your layer underneath, like that, and now you can actually see the colour through. You can see everything there. So it's really important to make sure you change your sketch layer to multiply mode, and then all your other layers are going to be underneath that the sketch, all your colors. Okay. So what I normally do at this stage is, I mean, you can go straight in and it depends. Like, I mean, I'm just going to show the way I do it because there's so many different ways that this can be done, and there's no right or wrong way. It completely depends on you. But I'm just going to show my way because this is the easiest way I found so far. I've tried a couple of different methods, and some of them are just a little bit too, I don't know, like too fussy. You need too many layers, and I don't like having all those layers to deal with because I'm not really organized when it comes to this panel here. I like to keep it quite small. So what I normally do is I'll fill all of the character in just the base color, just to have something to work off. So you can just go in with just any color really, because you can change it. So you know, just you can color it in like this, but you know, it's going to take a while, and you want to be a solid color. So you know, I don't like to do it like that. So I take the lasso tool, and that is by pressing the L button. I think that's what the default shortcut key is. I'm not sure where it is up here to be. Oh, it's right there. So you can tell I don't actually use these. I use the shortcut buttons, but yeah, there it is right there. So anyway, so it's the L button for me. So I just to start going around going around the figure. If you're not confident like that you're gonna go out with the lines or whatever, not that it matters because you can go back up here. This is the selection, you keep adding to it. Just by going like this, add, I might just zoom in there. Just adding to it, and you can take away if you go, like, let's say go, whoops. You can take this bit away because I don't want to colour there, do I? So just like that. Make sure you go back to your add. If you're doing it this way, this is what you do. Otherwise, just go ahead, get your brush, and just colour it in manually. But I find with the brush, some parts might be a little bit transparent. Like the brush doesn't go fully opaque. I mean, if you use a completely hard brush, then yeah, it will, but I don't know, it's just easier for me to do it this way. So, I mean, it's still kind of rough as well, but it's something I can fix later on if I want to. You know, sometimes I wonder maybe it would be quicker to actually just colour it in, but then I'd have to go in with the eraser tool and try and fix it that way, and I don't know. Who knows if this is the quickest way to do it. It's just a habit. But like I said, something you can go back in over afterwards and try and fix. So I'll probably, when I'm editing this, just speed up some parts because it's going to be quite monotonous. Otherwise there's going to be a lot of the same thing, and especially when it gets to like the painting stuff, painting in colours after I've put the base colours, and once you get the general idea, I guess. not really very neat when it comes to these things, so I don't really like doing this, but I don't really have a steady hand, which, you know, is kind of important when you're an artist, but I guess that's why I like digital art, because the undo button is really useful. Don't have that in your sketches, so you have to be really careful, and that's something I struggle with quite a bit. Okay, I think pretty much everything I want is done. There's a bit here that I don't want. It's a bit of empty space, so if I just go to it's like the take away button, it's like minus there, so it takes away from the selection, because that's within the selection I've just made, so okay. Okay, so you just want to fill that with a colour, so I don't know, just pick any colour, you can change it, it doesn't matter right now. And to fill, there's the paint bucket tool here, or for me it's G, so you press G and you'll see that the icon has changed to the paint bucket tool. So yeah, so now you can actually see what you've selected because it's filled it in, and if you want to get rid of like this selection now, because this is selected, I can't paint outside of anything else, so I'll just show you by picking a colour, and yeah, I can't paint outside of that right now, so to remove that, just press Command and D. That's the actual thing. I don't actually know where the I don't know where it is, but I guess deselect should be here somewhere actually. Deselect, yeah, there it is, Command D. But so once you press Command D, you're able now to just go in and like that. Okay, so might be useful just to have a look at the picture, see if there's anywhere that you just want to fill back in while you're still on this base layer, or remove. Let's say you went outside of the lines. I mean, it depends how fussy you want to be, really. I mean, I'm generally not, because I do a bit of fixing things afterwards. I don't like to be too meticulous at the beginning, because what if I don't like it, you know? So just depends on your style, really, and how much of a perfectionist you are, I guess. So, but yeah, just to try and, you know, get most things in there. Try and include your lines. Don't know what I did there. What is that? Okay, whatever, I'll figure it out in a minute. But yeah, so see, like little bits here and there, you just want to colour back in. I'm really conscious of the recording just stopping. It happened to me before. I was recording something, I think it was my blending tutorial, and I don't know what I was doing, but I didn't record the screen, so it was just my voice, and I was quite devastated. So I have a habit of just checking that the recording's still going, especially when I know it's going to be quite a long video. So yeah, I mean, this is good enough, you know, it's got pretty much everything in there, so that's fine. What is this thing? I don't know, I just pulled it down somehow, and you You can tell I don't really use the other features of Photoshop that much because I don't even know what this is. It's like a ruler or something. I don't know. That's really going to annoy me. Okay, hang on a second, and I'm gonna pause this for a sec so I can figure out what I've done. Okay, so apparently this is just like a guide, a guideline. I don't know how I did it, but if you want to get rid of it, it's Command and H. So there we go. Anyway, back to this. So now we have our base on a base colors on a separate layer. So what you can do now, and now this is something that it depends on how confident you are with coloring and how much time you want to save. So what you could do is you could add new layers here and do a different color for each separate element of the picture. So you could say, let's say, color in this layer 2 here, you can color it in the hair, then you go to a new layer, you can color like the skin, and so on, you know, the clothes, blah blah blah. I prefer not to do that because, again, too many layers. So what I do is I keep this layer and I'm going to do all the colors on this layer as it is. So what I do is I lock it. So if you select your layer and press this lock button right here, that means you cannot paint outside of what is already painted on this layer. So again, I'll just show you. Can't paint outside of it at all, which is really useful, you know, if you want to not have to keep on using the eraser tool whenever you go over your lines. So right, so now that we're getting into the actual colors and painting, I'll bring up a reference. So here we go. Right. Okay, so a lot of people ask me how do I have my images side by side, and to do that you need to go to Window, Arrange, and it's up to you if you want to go horizontal, but vertical I think is best. So you go 2 up vertical, and now you have them side by side, and they're on obviously two separate worksheets or whatever. So I'd like to have my reference kind of, you know, just to the side there. I don't want it taking up too much room because it's too eye-catching and I want to be focused on my work. So now that's separate. Okay, so what I'll probably do is I'll probably change this base tone here, this color here, to something approximate to her skin tone. So what you can do is go to the hue panel, so that's Command U, and just play around with the both the saturation, lightness and the hue to get the approximate color that you need. Yes, that's close enough. I mean, I'm going to be painting over it anyway, so I just don't want to have to paint through the skin again. So that's that done. So now just start colouring the other pieces in. So using your brush. Now your brushes, you can use any brush obviously. So let's have a look what I've got here. We just use top one here. It's a bit too big. And this brush is just a textured hard brush. So normally the hard brush, it doesn't really have, it's just completely round, round edges. But this one here, it has just a slight bit of texture to it, hence its name. But it's reliant on pen pressure as well, so the harder that I press on the pen down on the tablet, the darker the colour will be, or more opaque the colour will be. So that's what I like about this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and start colouring in parts of the image. So let's just go ahead with the hair. Now I don't like making everything or anything, you know, black, all the way black. That's here, so just bring it up a bit. I mean, I can change it afterwards. Might even just go a little bit lighter. And the good thing about not making it too black or too dark or too light is if you go somewhere in the middle, you can add shadows and highlights to that colour afterwards. So that's the best thing to do, I think, is go for a mid-tone colour, so that then you have a little bit more control over the colours afterwards in terms of your shadows and highlights. Again, you can actually use the lasso tool if you want to do this bit as well, like I had done when I was selecting the entire figure. But I don't know if it'll take longer because, you know, the shapes are a lot more finicky now, so it might just be a little easier just to go in and with your brush, maybe zoom in and do it this way. So it's kind of a long process. I mean, you think it would be pretty quick, but it can take a while just setting everything up for when you get down to the actual painting, you know. This is still all just base colours. This video is going to be so long, but I'm hoping it'll be very useful for people. I mean, I'm hoping that most people who are watching this have some sort of experience with Photoshop or with whatever digital software they're using, because this isn't really how to teach you how to use, you know, the software. It's more, you need to have a general idea, like, you know, showing you the shortcuts and stuff. Hopefully you already know all these kind of things and the basics, like the lasso tool and how to use it. So I'm hoping so, because that's a whole new tutorial going through all the basics. So yeah, like, there's the hair, pretty much done. And again, like, it's still on the same layer. This is what I was talking about. You can see there's a slight bit of transparency here. See if I colour back in over this, look, you can see it right here. That's why I think it's good to make sure you do the base with the lasso tool, to make sure it's pretty much completely solid colour. Yep. What else? So we got the reddish colour of her top. I think around there. Don't want it to be. I don't know. I don't want it to be too red, but I don't want it to be too dull either, because then it would be boring. I actually find this kind of relaxing, rather than having to start from scratch when I'm drawing digitally, because I like pencil sketches. I mean, I don't have to sit at my desk to do them, for one. I mean, I have to sit here at my desk to draw digitally because it's just a normal tablet. So yeah, it can be relaxing just sitting on my sofa, or yeah, but I don't know, I'm just still quite used to being able to look down at my work as I'm drawing, whereas here I'm looking at my screen and not looking at my hand, and it can take quite a while to get used to the hand-eye coordination thing when it comes to using a tablet like this. It'd be really nice to have a Cintiq one day. Just have to save up for it. Is that too dull? It's probably a little bit too dull. But the good thing is, which is a handy tip that I can now show you, because this is now all pretty much coloured the same. There's a wand tool. Now this wand tool will select the colour that you're selecting. Well, if I went on this layer, it's going to select random stuff because it's empty space and lines and everything like that. But because I'm going to be selecting it on the colour layer, and I select the colour, it's actually selecting pretty much all the colour there. And then I can easily change the hue by using the hue panel, so the command hue, and just make it a little bit more saturated. Like that. Same with this one here. If I just press W, turns it into the wand, and I selected it. Command U. I'm assuming command for PC is control. I don't remember, it's been a long time since I've used a PC. And just brighten that up, the saturation, because it was looking a bit dull. Yeah, it's a bit better. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what colours to really do. The skirt, it's kind of like a beige, but I'm trying to think of what would be the best mid-tone to use for it. So this is what I'm saying about experimenting. You just really need, that's too dull. You just need to just keep trying until something is, it just works for you, I guess. So I'm just going to go with this for now. Again, we're still only on our base layers of colours, so try not to worry too much, because only worry when you've got into the nitty-gritty and you realise, oh my god, I've been working on this for 2 hours or however long, and I'm not happy with the colour, and I've done all these different colours within it. It's going to be harder to change because I can't select the colours on their own, and that kind of scary stuff, so don't worry too much about it right now. Let's see, that's a little bit kind of this colour here. I'll just move the colour slide there. Probably picked a difficult image to work on. Probably should have selected something a little more, I don't know, simple, but I thought this would be nice to colour in, so why not? And then just this. I haven't gone into too much detail in my sketch, as you can see. It's quite rough, so I'm just doing this quite rough as well. See, if you zoom in, you can see really how sketchy this is. put a little bit of white, not too white, because our eyeballs aren't that white. Just so I can see where her eyes are. Okay, so look, those are the base colours done. Might just make the that aura different, slightly different colour, maybe a little bit. Just so it's different skin that I have at the moment. I really love this movie, by the way. I haven't even mentioned it the entire time I've been talking, which is weird, but wow. I only saw it like a week ago? Is it a week ago? Yeah, well, a week or two ago, and I loved it, and I cried so many times. I don't know why I got so emotional, but I think I cried at like all the songs pretty much, and then the moments with her grandma and the proud moments, and I'm terrible. I'm really bad for crying at movies, so. But yeah, apart from that, I mean, I really loved it. It was great. And the songs, oh my god, they're amazing. I want to go see it again. Right, okay, back to this. So those are pretty much the base colours. If I just turn off the sketch, you can see all the colours are pretty much there. I mean, there's areas here that are still showing up that I haven't coloured because it's hard to see. Obviously through the sketch you can't, but don't worry about it too much. It's easy to fix. So now, this is where I will start adding some layers because it's easy for me to pick from this layer now because I've got all my solid colours there, so there's no blending as such. They're all solid colours, there's no blending, there's no highlights, there's no shadows. So it's something I really recommend, is just having this layer untouched now and start working on a new layer on top of that. So what I do is, down here is the new layer. So you just press that there, and if you want to make sure that this layer doesn't colour outside of your picture, you can attach it to this layer. It's called a clipping mask. So to do that, you hold the Alt key, and you can see that it changes. See, there's an arrow. It's like it's pointing down to this layer here. So if you let go and press Alt, and when you click, anytime now that you colour on this layer, it's not going to go outside of what's coloured on this layer here. So just to show you, just go in colour here, and again, really useful to have. I'm assuming if most people who are watching this, they know I'm using Command, Alt and Z as my undo button. Well, it's actually step backwards, I think. Yep, step backwards, because undo you can only do once if you just press the Command Z, so it'll just go forward, backward, forward, backward, forward, backward, but step back is keep on pressing undo and it'll keep going back all the steps you've made. So yeah, so now here's our new layer, and let's say I want to just colour on the skin now. Now I'll probably just only colour on this layer because that's just my preference, but you can paint on as many layers as you want, just keep on adding them and then attaching them to this layer if you want. It's down to you and how confident you are in your colouring, you know. I mean, before I probably would have just added layer after layer after layer because I would have been too scared of messing up, but I'm just going to go with the one layer. So let's start with the skin. So if I just go back on here, because this is the layer where all the colours are, go to the wand tool, press W, and I'm going to start selecting the skin areas like so, like that. there as well, and just go and press the lasso and they remove, because I don't want to go outside of the skin. So I'm just gonna see these little areas here. It's picked up those colors because they're matching the same kind of color, so Photoshop thinks that's where I want to go, but I don't. Don't want any of this here. I just want to kind of color the skin. So I just get rid of anything you don't want to be coloring in. What else? And then if there's areas you want to add, let's say the thumb, go back to the add tool. Where else? This just makes it easier, you know, try and get it right the first time so you don't have to fuss over it too much afterwards. But I mean, it's not the end of the world if you miss a bit here or there. Or... Okay. Yep. So I don't really like seeing these dotted lines when I'm working. So if you want to hide these lines, it's, nope, not that one. Where is it gone? Command H. It's showing up the guideline thing that somehow is still there. I don't know how to get rid of that permanently, but anyway, Command H is going to get rid of those. It's still active, so those lines are still active, but now I can't see them. So go back to, make sure you don't start colouring on your layer, because then it's gone, like your base colours are gone, you've painted over them. So go back to your new layer and you can start colouring over it. But also you're not going to colour outside of the outside of your lines, I guess. So now it's up to you what way you want to colour. You can go in, let's say, with maybe a shadow multiply mode if you want, or you can just go straight in with colour and just start blending from the get-go. It depends on your colouring style. So what I normally do is I've selected the colour here. This is the base tone. Now, I mean, I don't really want to get into colour theory too much because that's another completely separate video. But what I normally do is, to make sure that the skin doesn't look too flat, I will just move the colour either slightly warmer or slightly colder. So I'll probably go slightly warmer, and I'm going to make that colour a little bit deeper, and that will be my shadows. So you can see it's darker here. So I'm just going to colour in areas that there should be shadows, and I've done a bit of that with the pencil already, so that's useful because, as you can see, all the lights are basically on this side, so I'm assuming the light's coming from this direction down. So that's how I'm going to colour. So just adding bits and pieces here. Now again, like I said, it's completely up to you how far you want to take this. I mean, you can leave it quite sketchy so it still looks like a pencil piece, or you can start really going for it and putting a lot of detail into it. But for the purposes of this video, I don't want to do that because it's basically just how to colour. So I'm just adding, you know, just the darker areas here, a little bit here on the under the ankle. Obviously that bit's going to be dark because it's covered by her skirt, and again, it's away from the light. So it's just deepening those colours a little. Should be a little bit there as well. So you can see the difference that's making already. Obviously under her top it's going to be quite shadowy, and I'm using different pen pressure here to lighten some areas. I don't want to go fully the whole colour. Just a little bit here on her face. And obviously in the eye socket. Well, it's up to you if you just want to go through and do all your shadow kind of colours on each element, like so you do your skin, your clothes, your hair, all that. But I kind of just want to work on each area kind of fully until the end. So now I'll go in with the lighter colour. So again, I'll pick the base colour, move it slightly colder and slightly lighter, and see how that looks. So I'll start going in, let's say here, you know, the highlights should be hitting. And again, this area is still only active if I just pull up Command H. See, I still can't go outside of any of these lines, so that's really useful. I like to work zoomed out as well, just so I can see what I'm doing. I mean, you could go like this, but I mean, what are we at? 200%. So let's go back to 100%, but you really can't get a good look at the colours and how it's looking overall. So I only zoom in when I'm near enough the end, so I can see, you know, what the brush strokes look like, because you don't see the brush strokes from far away, but as you can see, then they're still a bit blotchy. So yeah, leave that until the end. So little areas here and there just to add those highlights. A little bit here. Just be careful with it. Try and consider, you know, your light source. But I mean, again, that's not what this video is about. A little bit in here. You can see quite a bit on her foot because it's flat. Right at the top. And a little bit on the top of the calf. So just already, like, you can see quite a bit of difference. Quite a bit of difference there. So then when you're finished with that section and you want to move on to the next one, you need to deselect the area that you've got selected. So you do that by pressing Command and D. And now you can select a new area. So I'm just going to select the red parts of her clothing. So you go back to this layer at the bottom where it's just the base colours. Press W for the wand tool and select your red colours. And looks like there's a bit there that's not selecting, so you just go to lasso, it's L, add to selection here. And you can see little bits here that haven't been selected. So just keep going with that. Okay. Okay, and then Command H to hide it, because I don't want to see it. Now go back here. Now this is where I was saying some people might want to do a new layer, because you've got, like, say, a skin shading on this one, and say you want to add a new layer, you can add it and then do this, press the Alt to still attach it to this base layer, and then start going in with your colours. But like I said, I'm happy enough to just do it on the same layer as the skin, so completely up to you. So let's just pick a darker colour. So I'm just, you know, putting in the shadows here. The good thing with, you know, selecting areas, you can be a bit rough, like you can like do this, it's not going to affect the hair or the skin. So that's what I like about using the wand tool to select those areas. And then obviously in here, it's going to be darker on the side and also in the fold. Just a little bit down here as well. A bit of a fold in there. And just there. I'm changing the size of my brush here because I always have my hand on the keyboard. So some people will bring up their brush tool here, the brush settings here, and change it like this. But I'm just so used to using the keyboard at this stage. That's just the way I do it. So for me, it's the open and closed brackets that are the brush size. So yeah, that's just the way I do it. So let's add a little bit of highlight now. So we'll go over to a more orangey colour, I think, and make it kind of bright, and add those colours here. Bring it to life a little bit, you know. So it's not going to be right under here because of the shadow cast by her chest. So it might be a little bit here. Obviously that area here is supposed to be quite dark looking at the picture. And then here. So that's the general idea. I don't want to have to like talk through every single element that I'm doing because this video is going to end up being really, really long and boring if it isn't already boring, but it's going to be quite boring. So I've gone through like the skin and I've gone through the clothes, and I think I'll do the hair and the skirt, but I'll do that in I'll speed that up a little bit and then get back to you when I am ready to get to the next stage. Okay, so I think that the majority of the colours are down now, like the shadows and highlights, not like extreme highlights, but you know, just a variation in the tones. And what you can do now at this stage is you can add maybe, let's say like this pink of her cheeks and her nose and like, you know, your elbows, and you know, you'd have like a little bit of colour variations. So you can add a colour layer. So if you just go to a new layer down here, and again let's attach that to our layers so it doesn't go outside the lines, and you're going to change this layer now to colour. And let's say we want a somewhat pinkish tone. It's going to have to be dark because the skin's a bit darker, so let's just see what happens here. It might be too dark. Might be too pink. So if you just lightly start adding a little bit of colour to these areas. That's obviously far too pink, but I'll fix that now in a sec. So on the elbows, a little bit on the shoulder there. Can't really see her knees, but just put a little bit on the toes. If you want to see what the different layer modes are like, it's a good opportunity to have a flick through them now. So that's what it looks like with colour. If I want to multiply, they go like crazy dark. And then overlay, they go like a really burnt kind of colour. You can play around the opacity of the layer as well. I mean, that's 0, it was 50%. So, I mean, you can add colour on most of these layers. Once you don't go overboard and play around with the opacity of the actual layer. Good colour. I feel like the colour is a little bit too pink. So if I just select the Command Hue, and it brings up the Hue and Saturation panel, and you can see here you can change the colour. So if you just have a look, too saturated. Probably still a little bit too pink. Just reduce it a little bit. It's still there, it's really subtle, but it's there. Okay. Okay, so at this stage I do have everything on separate layers, and I would be comfortable enough to merge these onto my base layers because I wouldn't be selecting those base colours anymore to do things separately. I'd just be going in to the image as a whole and adjusting colours or blending or whatever it is I want to do. So I'd like to merge these layers now because I like to work on as little amount of layers as I can. So I'm going to select all the layers. So what I did to select all of those was press the Shift key, and so you select your top layer and then hold Shift and select the bottom one, and it'll go through all the things that are in between. There's only 2 layers, so, and then Command E merges those layers. And now I'm not merging it with the pencil sketch, it's just the colours that I'm merging. Because if I merge it then with the pencil sketch, if I go back in at this stage to the colours and it's merged in with this layer and it's just the one layer, I'm going to start removing the actual sketch lines, and that's not something I want to do at this stage. And some people are happy enough to just leave it like at the stage where they don't touch the pencil layer at all. But sometimes I find that, you know, maybe my pencil lines aren't very nice. I might like to clean them up a little bit, or maybe go over them digitally depending on what I want to do with the sketch. So again, that's a personal preference thing. Normally I might do it with the face, because I can put a bit of detail in there. But again, for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's long enough as it is. So now we can see the colours. Now there's actually a pretty good way of playing around with these colours without actually having to paint any more on top of them. And it's kind of I guess it's kind of advanced in a way. So what you do is you've got your color layer selected, and you just go to Image, Adjustments, and you can go to Selective Color. Now selective color is basically, it will select the color in the range of colors. So let's say your red tones here, and you can play around with these sliders to adjust the amount of, say, if you want to add more blues or pinks or yellows or blacks to that red tone. But this for yellow, green, like this, you could spend a lot of time on this. So I try not to use it too much, otherwise I could be here for like, I don't know, half an hour just playing around and not actually like the colour at the end. But you know, it's a handy tool to have. So what I'll do is I'll just duplicate this layer and I just have a backup. So I right click it and duplicate layer. Okay, I'll just hide that bottom one for now. So let's just go to selective color and I'll show you what I mean, what you can do with this. So there's obviously a lot of red colors in here. So if you just put, let's say, more blues, it's making it a lot more dull now, obviously, because it's like neutralizing those reds. So I mean, you can add more red. So look how bright it becomes. It really becomes quite more alive or something. So I'd probably add or take away blue from the reds if that's how you want to put it. So, and then you've got the magenta, so it goes really green. Or so I mean, you'd want to use this very, very subtle, I think. It's just something you need to play around with. Like, I can't sit here really and explain each one, but it's a really good tool to have if you've done your colours, but let's say, you know, it looks a little bit, I don't know, dull or dead or whatever. So you can just play around with this and see like there's adding black to those red areas or taking it away. So obviously a lot of the image has got a lot of red in it, so you can darken it, lighten it. Same with all those colours. So yeah, like I said, it's completely, you know, just something to play around with. But I think the main one are the whites, neutrals and blacks. They're the most useful, I think. And then if you've got lots of different colours, this might be a little bit more useful, but seeing as it's mainly reds, it's probably not going to be. So I'll just start with the neutrals and see how that completely changes everything, because it's just going with the neutral tones and not the colours, but the actual neutral tones in the piece. So I haven't really decided what kind of look I want for this, and I'm just having a little play around. I mean, I experiment all the time just to see how things look. So go to the whites. I think this is a lot more noticeable when you have a fully digital sketch, because those pencil lines are all the same colour, so it's hard to really see what kind of differences you're making, especially because it's quite dark. So grey hair, Moana. Yeah. So just, it's a slight bit of difference there. I've made it slightly more warm. So this is the before I made the changes and after. So you can see I've made it slightly more like, I don't know, like maybe she's standing in the sunlight or something, which is quite nice. And then again, you can change maybe the contrast. So if you press Command L, that brings up the levels. And like I said before, it's going to change the contrast here. It's going to change how dark it is, and then how light it is. So another thing to play around with. And remember I was saying before how you could play around with the sketch, the actual pencil sketch colours. I mean, if you do that now, so we bring up the hue saturation with the Command U, and if you, it's amazing how different it makes the image look. The colours that are there, they look completely different with a different outline. So and the saturation as well, like look how red that is. But like I said, it's something you can really play around with at the beginning mainly. I mean, you can do it at the end as well if you're looking for something a bit different. Okay. So what I would normally probably do now is I would maybe go into the face, but this time I would actually colour over my sketch. And I don't want to do it too much because it's going to completely ruin the sketchy look of it, like the actual pencil look. So what I'll do is I might go in to certain areas just to clean them up, like the eyes, and define them a bit. And so what I'll do is, now I'm doing a new layer. Now it's at the very top because I'm going over my pencil sketch, and this is going to go over any pencil lines, so just be wary of it. Make sure you do it on a new layer and not on your actual pencil layer. And then if you don't like it, at least it's on a new layer and you can get rid of it, so not a big deal. So I'm just defining the eyes a bit. Like this. Again, depends on how far you want to go. Obviously her eyebrows need to be a bit darker. So just lightly fill those in. Let's say, you know, oh, I didn't like this little area here of my pencils. So I'll just select this with the Alt keys, colour picker. I'll just go over that. I don't want that there anymore. So eyebrows look a little bit more tamed. And I want to make up maybe her actual eyes stand out a bit. She has brown eyes, but let's just lighten them a little so we can actually see them. And maybe put a highlight in there too. Makes quite a little bit of difference, you know, when you zoom back out and just, yeah, so you can really see her face now a bit better. Same with her nose, I think. Just define that a bit. I'm starting to just draw a little bit over some of these lines because it's quite messy. Completely unnecessary, like you don't have to go this far with your colouring. I mean, this is really just supposed to be a colouring tutorial, but I just have a habit of picking at things and, you know, wanting to go this little bit further with it, so why not? May as well while I'm here, right? And her lips, a little bit dark, just smooth them out a bit. So add a little bit more highlight, maybe in here, always a little bit of a highlight there, and her nose. Just there. A little highlight at the top here. Get the general idea anyway. This is what you can do on top of your sketch. I might just go in over that colour layer I had done. I didn't really like the colour that turned out at the end, so it's just lightly put in a colour that I like. Define those cheekbones. Just maybe smooth out some of these paint brush lines. It's probably too dark. So just go back out, and yeah, her face is a lot more defined now if I just hide that layer. So you can really see that it stands out a lot more. You can see those white highlights a bit better. Her eyes stand out and her eyebrows. So this is what I'm saying about trying to do somewhat subtle adjustments over your pencil sketch, but you still have your pencil sketch showing, so you still can see little areas. And let's say you wanted to do some nice outlines so that the sketch stands out, you could do that. So let's say, I don't know, you wanted it really green, you could put that in here. Say you wanted this, I don't know, like she has a really strong green light coming from a direction, you can add that on top. So I mean, you know, something to play around with. Maybe, yep, you put some here and blah blah blah, and lots of light, go crazy with it. I don't know what I'm doing with it, but you know, just showing you what you can do. Put it here. You know, just whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. But yeah, I hope that's helpful in some way. It's just my process. It's not the right way. It's not the wrong way. It's just my way. There's lots of different ways you can do it. I've seen people who leave their pencil sketch in normal mode, and then they paint all their other colors and stuff on like multiply modes and overlay modes, and I don't know, I don't really have the patience for that, so I find it easier to just put it straight into multiply mode and not worry about it after that. Yeah, so now since your sketch is like your line work is not separate like it would be in digital, if you wanted to do a background, you'd probably struggle with it because everything's still on the same layer and you can't separate it from the background essentially. So the easiest way to probably do this is, let me see, I guess select where you've coloured. So if I, okay, so if you want to select the areas you've coloured on a layer, press Command on this little box here, and it selects everything. Everything's selected. But as you can see, it hasn't quite gone to the edges of your pencil marks. So what will happen is you will paint over those if you're going to do a background. So what you need to do is go to Select, Modify, Expand, and let's say 10 pixels, let's just see. Now that's probably expanded it too far. Look how far it's gone past our lines. So we probably don't need that. So I just press undo. And let's try it again. Let's try 5. Okay, all right. So that's selected everything inside. That's basically selected Moana, the ore, but you want to paint the background. You want to paint outside of that. So what you need to do is, now that that's selected, you go to Filter. No, you don't. You go to Select and Inverse. And what's happened there, it's actually selected everything outside of that. So it's flipped it. So it's inverse. So what you can do now is you can paint on this layer if you want, or you can add a new layer on top of your background or on top of your sketch. And I hope this works. I haven't done this in a while. So you can start colouring in. Let's say you just want, I don't know, this. You're going to see a little bit of white though. You are going to see the white because it hasn't exactly, you know, if you just go in. So you are going to see some white bits, but I'm sure there's probably a better way to do this. I'll have to look it up, maybe edit and do a better video in future, but you know, at least now you've got a background to work on, and now that it's separate from the others, you can work on that layer. So you can lock it, and then I don't know, let's say you just want to start adding stuff. It's locked, so it's not going to go into your character. But it's also, did I deselect? Yeah, I did. Yeah, so it's not going to go into your character or anything, so, you know, it's up to you. If you want to add a background, you can. If not, you don't have to, because it's on a separate layer. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, those are just a few tips that I have that you can use if you're just learning how to colour your pencil sketching digitally. Hopefully it will help. And I don't know if I'm going to continue working on this, you know, adding to it and tidying it up. I don't know, I haven't decided, but I'll record it. But for now I think I'm done with explaining everything. I've gone through all the basics, you know, how to take a good photo or scan, which one to use, how to clean up the scan, and yeah, going from there, just putting down your base colours and then just painting on top of that. I mean, it's a pretty simple process. Once you've done it a few times, it seems like a daunting thing to start with, and it seems impossible, but it's actually not that bad once you get used to it. So I really hope that this has been helpful. Let me know in the comments. I know this is a very long video, so yeah, probably take a few days to upload, but yeah, I hope it's useful. Let me know, and yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.